Walking toward the Hofburg through the Heldenplatz, you will marvel at the spectacular wide curved palatial building. For more than 7 centuries, the Empire of Habsburg was ruled from here. One of the biggest palace complexes in the world, the Hofburg is a manifestation of Austrian imperial splendor and glory. The history of the Hofburg, dating back to the Middle Ages, is intertwined with the history of the Habsburg dynasty. Around 1240, the Babenberg dynasty, the then ruling class, built 4 square castles with 4 corner towers to defend against enemies. The site of the original Hofburg castles is where the Swiss ring now stands. After the Babenberg dynasty was succeeded by the Habsburg dynasty around 1278, the House of Habsburg expanded the Hofburg into an immense palace complex with a total floor area of over 300,000 square meters. The palace is so large that it's often described as a city within the city. The Hofburg served as a winter residence for the Habsburg family, as the Hofburg Palace was a summer residence. In contrast to the Hofburg Palace, the Hofburg is not a single building. It consists of 18 wings and 19 courts. The expansion of the Hofburg has undergone several phases over the centuries. In each phase, new architectural styles and elements were introduced: Gothic, Renaissance, Baroque, Rococo, and Classicism. The various wings of the palace complex all represent different eras of style and art. In general, one can distinguish between 3 phases of construction. Up to the 17th century, the Hofburg was primarily a group of defense castles. Burg is a German word for castle. It was during the Baroque period the castles were developed into a magnificent palace. The St. Michael's Wing, facing the St. Michael's Square, and the semicircular New Hofburg, facing the Heldenplatz, were built at the end of the 19th century and were significant extensions that determine the appearance of the palace to this day. After World War I, Austria began to transition from a monarchy to a republic. The progress, however, was set back by World War II. On March 15, 1938, Adolf Hitler announced the annexation of Austria into the Nazi Third Reich from the balcony of the Hofburg. Since 1946, the Hofburg has served as the official residence and office of the President of the Republic of Austria. It also houses various world-renowned museums, government offices, imperial apartments, and a national library. Some of these rooms are open to public. Throughout the history, the Hofburg has shined with its awe-inspiring imperial majesty. Today, it has retained its political and cultural importance as a seat of Austrian president as well as numerous cultural institutions. The Hofburg in Vienna is one of the largest palace complexes in the world. It consists of 18 wings and 19 courts. When you approach the Hofburg through the Heldenplatz, you will first notice the Newberg Wing. Built in the late 19th century and designed by the architect Gottfried Semper, The most striking feature of the Newberg Wing is its curved facade, which was designed to evoke a sense of imperial embrace and showcase the grandeur and power of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. The curved shape also harmonizes with the layout of the Ringstrasse, following the natural curve of the road. This design choice allowed the building to integrate smoothly into the overall urban plan of the area and maintain coherence with the surrounding structures. The bronze equestrian statue standing in front of the Newberg is Prince Eugene Savoy, one of Austria's greatest military leaders who fought wars against the Ottoman Empire and was instrumental in expanding the Habsburg Empire. The statue is also a masterpiece of engineering. The horse figure's rear legs carry the entire 11 tons weight without the usual anchor function by the tail. The other side of the Newberg faces the Burggarten, a former imperial garden now open to the public. Unlike the curved shape on the Heldenplatz side, the Burggarten side is flat, and hence doesn't have the embracing effect, but is still a magnificent architectural masterpiece. The architecture of the Newberg is a mix of the Neo-Renaissance and the Neo-Baroque styles, which are reflected in its symmetry, harmony, as well as the opulent decorations on the two sides of the building. The Newberg Central Pavilion is the most iconic part of the structure. It features a monumental arched entrance flanked by colossal columns. Above this entrance is a wide balcony. At the very top, there are sculpture groups depicting heroes of Austrian history. This extensive use of allegorical and historical figures is typical of Neo-Baroque architecture, reinforcing the connection between the building and the empire's military and cultural heritage. The columns along the facade are decorated with intricate carvings and other classical motifs. The pediments above the doorways and the windows often feature sculptural reliefs depicting mythological scenes, military victories, or allegorical representations of the empire's power and virtue. Laurel wreaths, symbolizing victory and honor, are common throughout the sculptural decoration. They appear in the hands of allegorical figures or as decorative motifs surrounding inscriptions and coats of arms. The double-headed eagle, the symbol of the Habsburg dynasty and the Austro-Hungarian Empire, is prominently displayed on both sides of the Newberg. It symbolizes the unity of the empire and its rule over both Austria and Hungary. The eagle is often depicted holding a sword or scepter, further emphasizing the imperial might. The sculptures and inscriptions on the Newberg's facade create a narrative of imperial power, military triumph, and cultural achievement. By combining historical figures, allegorical representations, and imperial symbols, the building becomes a testament to the Habsburg legacy and their connection to both Roman and the Holy Roman imperial traditions. These decorative elements serve not only as beautiful adornments, but as ideological statements, reinforcing the authority and the grandeur of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire at the time the building was completed. The Burggarten side of the Newberg blends into the serene atmosphere of the Burggarten, a beautiful and a peaceful oasis in the city center. It was once part of the Imperial Gardens, offering a softer, more graceful view compared to the more monumental side facing the Heldenplatz. The large windows allow light to flood into the room inside, offering views over the lush garden. Some sections also have balconies that would help allow the members of the imperial family or important guests to step out and enjoy the garden views. The garden was originally created in the 1820s as a private imperial garden for Emperor Franz I. It was designed in the style of an English garden by landscape architect Ludwig Remy, characterized by meandering paths, carefully arranged trees, and an informal layout that contrasts with the more formal Baroque gardens found elsewhere in Vienna. This style emphasizes natural beauty and it creates a peaceful, relaxed atmosphere. After the fall of the Habsburg monarchy, in 1918, the garden was opened to the public. It became a cherished public park, allowing the Viennese and tourists to enjoy the lush surroundings of the former imperial gardens. The Newberg was originally intended to be part of an even grander project, known as the Kaiser Forum, or Imperial Forum, envisioned by Emperor Franz Joseph I. The original plan was to build an identical palace 500 meters away on the other side, which is now where the museum Platz lies. The Kaiser Forum was designed to be a vast complex that would connect the Hofburg with other imperial buildings across the Ringstrasse. The two semicircular palaces would have enclosed the entire area. The Heldenplatz would be the central space. Towards southwest, you will cross Bering Street, then reach Maria Theresa Platz, flanked by two prestigious museums with nearly identical exterior, Natural History Museum and the Museum of Fine Arts. But the plan was never fully implemented due to the outbreak of World War I and the subsequent fall of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire in 1918. The Hofburg Palace, one of the largest palace complexes in the world, has witnessed the vicissitudes of the Habsburg dynasty over 7 centuries, offering invaluable insights into the historic and cultural legacy of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. The Hofburg in Vienna, one of the largest palace complexes in the world, originated in a medieval castle built in the 13th century. Then it has been expanded to have 18 wings and 19 courtyards. The Newberg is the largest and the last wing to be completed in 1913, shortly before the fall of the Habsburg dynasty. Adjacent to the Newberg, there are wings that were built in earlier centuries. Leopoldine Wing, Amaliaburg, Imperial Chancellor Wing, Swiss Wing. These wings form the inner castle square. The inner castle square is the heart of the Hofburg Palace, serving as a site of many important events and ceremonies throughout the history of the Habsburg dynasty. Now the square is a popular tourist destination, allowing visitors to explore the history of the Habsburgs and the grandeur of the Hofburg Palace. It provides access to various museums and exhibitions housed within the palace complex. As a center of power for the Holy Roman Empire, and then later the Austro-Hungarian Empire, the square reflects the changing architectural styles and the historical significance of the Habsburgs. The area showcases a mix of Gothic, Renaissance, Baroque, and neoclassical architecture. The Imperial Chancellery Wing was built between 1723 and 1730 during the reign of Emperor Charles VI. It was intended to house the Aulic Council, the central administrative body of the Habsburg Empire. Designed in the Baroque style, the Imperial Chancellery Wing is richly adorned with sculptures of mythological figures, gods, goddesses, and heroic figures, symbolizing strength, wisdom, and justice. The coats of arms, eagles, and heraldic symbols represent the Holy Roman Empire, and later the Austro-Hungarian Empire. These sculptures are well integrated into the architecture of the building, above doorways, windows, or as part of columns and pediments, enhancing the grandeur and the authority of the palace. The Baroque sculptures draw heavily from Roman antiquity, both in their styles and in the themes of imperial power and the divine right to rule. These sculptures reinforce the classic idea that the Habsburg ruled not just through power, but with a sense of moral authority and virtue. In the middle of the square is a bronze statue of Emperor Francis II and I. The reason that he carried two titles, because he was the last Holy Roman Emperor as Francis II from 1792 to 1806, as well as the first Emperor of Austria as Francis I from 1804 to 1835. Emperor Francis II and I reigned during a period of great political and military challenges, especially due to the Napoleonic Wars. He dissolved the Holy Roman Empire in 1806 and declared the formation of the Austrian Empire, becoming its first emperor. He played a significant role during a transformative period in European history, including the Napoleonic Wars and the restructuring of Europe after the fall of the Holy Roman Empire. The statue, erected decades after his reign, is a testament to the respect and admiration he garnered for maintaining stability in Austria during a turbulent time. His reign marked the end of one empire and the beginning of a new one, which would continue under the Habsburg dynasty until the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire in 1918. The statue depicts the emperor standing in a Roman-style toga, emphasizing his connection to the ancient Roman tradition of leadership and authority. His right hand is raised in a gesture of blessing or addressing the people, symbolizing his role as a wise and benevolent ruler. At his feet, there are allegorical figures representing the virtues associated with his reign: faith, justice, strength, and peace. The statue emphasizes the emperor's role as a stabilizing and a unifying force during a time of a great upheaval in Europe. His choice of attire, the Roman toga, and his calm, composed stance reflect the ideals of classical leadership, virtue, and wisdom. The allegorical figures surrounding him further enhance the symbolic meaning of the monument, portraying the emperor as a protector and a guarantor of key virtues needed for a prosperous and a peaceful empire. St. Michael's Wing is an extension of the Hofburg in the north. It adjoins Inner Castle Square by St. Michael's Gate. The construction of St. Michael's Wing was originally planned in the 18th century by Emperor Leopold I as a part of a grand plan to expand the Hofburg. However, the wing was not completed until the 19th century during the reign of Emperor Franz Joseph I. Its curved facade mirrors the Newberg, but in much less scale. It faces Michaelplatz, a circular square. Both the wing and the square were named after St. Michael's Church, one of the oldest churches in Vienna, standing by the square with a soaring spire. The architecture of St. Michael's Wing is a mix of neoclassical and Baroque styles, and well integrated into the overall Hofburg complex. One of the most magnificent features of St. Michael's Wing is its dome, admired for its Baroque style, distinctive color, and elegant proportions. The turquoise bronze dome sits atop the central gate. Its exterior is covered in greenish copper, giving it a distinguished patina over time and creating a fascinating contrast with the red roof and the white facade of the building nearby. The dome is crowned with rich sculptural decorations, including cherubs and delicate gilded leaves and flowers, which celebrate the power and the history of the Habsburg dynasty. The sculptural work around St. Michael's Gate is framed by rich Baroque ornamentation, including decorative reliefs, pediments, sculpted cartouches, imperial insignia, garlands. These elements create a sense of grandeur and further highlight the gate's importance as a ceremonial entrance to the Imperial Palace. Inside, the dome features an impressive rotunda, which is grand in scale and aligned with decorative elements typical of Imperial Vienna. The interior space under the dome creates a sense of openness and highlights the Baroque and neoclassical architectural influences. St. Michael's Gate is one of the most iconic entrances to the Hofburg Palace in Vienna. This grandiose gateway leads from Michaelplatz into the heart of the palace complex and is richly adorned with elaborate sculptures that reflect the imperial power of the Habsburg dynasty. The sculptures around St. Michael's Gate are dynamic and dramatic, showcasing themes of strength, heroism, and victory. On either side of the gate, near the arcaded entrance, there are two dramatic Baroque sculptural groups that further symbolize the theme of imperial power and martial success. On the left side, the sculpture represents the struggle of the Titans, or battle scene, showing human figures in chaotic struggle, portraying the emperor's triumph over his enemies. On the right side, the sculpture group is more peaceful, representing the pacification of the state or the concept of an imperial peace, with allegorical figures suggesting that through victory in battle, the emperor brings stability and harmony to the empire. The central entrance of St. Michael's Wing resembles a triumphal arch, with large arched doorways that lead to the inner courtyards of the Hofburg. This entrance was designed to impress visitors and symbolize the power and grandeur of the Habsburgs. The St. Michael's Wing of the Hofburg is a stunning example of Baroque and neoclassical architecture, symbolizing the power and authority of the Habsburg dynasty. With its grand dome, triumphal arch, and dramatic sculptures, the wing is both a ceremonial entrance to the Imperial Palace and an important architectural landmark in Vienna. The integration of mythological and allegorical figures, particularly the Hercules statues, reinforces the imperial message of strength, heroism, and enlightened rule. Today, it remains a key part of the Hofburg complex and a popular attraction for visitors. The Sisi Museum, housed in the Hofburg Palace, is dedicated to the life and the legacy of the Empress Elizabeth of Austria, nicknamed Sisi, a beloved figure in the 19th century. Renowned for her beauty, enigmatic personality, and a tragic life, Sisi was the wife of Emperor Franz Joseph I. In the museum, there are more than 300 exhibits, including apartment rooms, furniture, clothing, and personal items once used by Sisi. There's even a reconstruction of a train cabin one Sisi once sat when traveling. These exhibits allow visitors to explore Sisi's private life, her keen sense of fashion, and her legendary beauty regime. From the carefree time as a young girl in Bavaria to the surprising engagement with the Austrian emperor to her 1898 assassination in Geneva, the museum shows the restless life of the legendary empress. Elizabeth Amelia Eugenia, nicknamed Sisi, was born in 1837 in Munich to an aristocratic family of Kingdom of Bavaria. Sisi grew up along with her 7 brothers and sisters in a carefree and unconstrained atmosphere at the family home in Munich and in a Possenhofen castle on the western shore of Lake Starnberg. In 1853, at age 16, she married 23-year-old Emperor Franz Joseph, who fell in love with her at the first sight. On April 24, 1854, the 16-year-old Sisi entered the world of the Austrian Imperial dynasty as its new empress, took up residence in her apartment at the Hofburg. The marriage thrust her into the much more formal Habsburg court life, for which she was unprepared and found suffocating. She found joy and comfort outside of the court by traveling, reading and writing poetry, and riding horses. Freedom was my mother, who disguised as a cuckoo, lay me in a stranger's nest. That's how this misfortune came to pass, Sisi wrote in 1887. The imperial apartments, Empress Elizabeth and Emperor Franz Joseph once lived and worked here. The Imperial Palace served as the residence and workplace of the imperial family until the end of the monarchy in 1918. Today, these magnificent apartments offer deep insights into the private and official life of Emperor Franz Joseph and Empress Elizabeth. In the audience room, Franz Joseph received nearly 260,000 people in the course of his long reign. Two of the most famous portraits of the emperor hang here. One shows the emperor in the dress uniform of an Austrian field marshal. The second portrait shows the emperor 1 year before his death. On the left wall are the paintings of Franz Joseph's predecessors, Franz II and I, the emperor's grandfather, and his uncle, Ferdinand. Franz Joseph had his favorite painting hung in the Imperial study, right over the writing desk, the portrait of Sisi with intertwined hair. The dining room with its opulently laid table is also impressive. The rooms are in the Rococo style and fitted out with rich stucco work, magnificent chandeliers made from Bohemia crystal, and tiled stoves made from ceramic. The private salons, living rooms, and bedrooms are also accessible to visitors. Highlights of the tour are the dressing-cum-exercise room and the bathroom of the Empress. Sisi spent most of her time in the exercise room. Her day began here at 6 o'clock in the morning with the daily hairdressing ritual. The installed exercise equipment, such as the wall bars, high bar, and rings in the door frame, are still retained. While traveling in Geneva in 1898, Sisi was assassinated by an Italian anarchist. This shocking event impacted the Austro-Hungarian monarchy and the European society. Over time, Sisi became a cultural icon, often romanticized in films, books, and popular media. She is often compared to another beautiful and tragic European royal female figure, Princess Diana of England. The museum delves into her legacy and how her image was shaped by history and legend. I flee from the world and all its pleasures, and its people are remote from me today. Their joys and sorrows are alien to me. I stand alone as on a star. Sisi wrote in 1887